Hi guys, and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today we're taking a closer look at the latest model from AVI-8 or AVI-8, however you want to pronounce it. It's called the Airmaster GMT, and in my opinion, it is probably the best model they've launched so far and one that caters perfectly to my own taste. Now, it's not perfect. It does have certain details that kind of bother me, and I'll cover them later on in the video. But overall, it is, like I said, the best model they've made. It is almost like they asked me to design a watch and I did this when it comes to a GMT pilot-inspired watch. First, the size. Usually AVI-8 will make a lot of 43 and even 45mm models, and if you follow my channel, you know I have a small 6.5-inch wrist and I prefer smaller watches overall. This is exactly to my taste. It is 40mm in diameter, 48mm lug to lug, meaning that it sits even on my small 6.5-inch wrist, and despite on paper being 13.9mm thick, in reality it doesn't wear as thick because a lot of that thickness comes from this sloped bezel and this domed sapphire crystal. So again, using a sapphire crystal when a lot of their models used to have mineral is an upgrade. Now this watch is powered by a Seiko NH34, meaning that it's a mechanical GMT, but it's an office GMT, meaning you can independently set the GMT hand rather than the hour hand like the more expensive traveler GMTs. But still, even as an office GMT with a price of just over $300 or even under $300 if you use some of their coupons, which are always available, including my own, which is an affiliate coupon, so we actually help the channel. It's Watch Geek 20. When you apply 20% to this, it drops significantly below $300. And below $300 for a mechanical GMT with its sapphire crystal is a pretty good deal. Now when it comes to the watch itself, like I said, it's pilot inspired as most of AVI-8 models, and it kind of has this Zen vibe. I especially love the oversized 3, 6, and 9 and 12 o'clock marker, which is done in those B and pilot watches from the World War II. The GMT hand is small, so tucked away, but it's still there, and I do like that they included a 24-hour ring right there so that each hand points to its designated markers. You know, it's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like too short hand. I don't like when watches suffer from the shortness of hand syndrome. This one doesn't. Even though the hand is very small, it actually corresponds to the 24-hour ring that is on the inner part of the dial. I also love the way they did that ring. Not only do you have a different color when it comes to the upper part and the lower part, one being black and the other one being gray, but there's also a difference in finish, which is something you'll probably see in my macro shots. I don't know if camera is going to pick it up right here. So it really does give the impression they really thought about every single detail. I also love that the GMT hand gives this hint of red, and the base of the GMT hand is almost exactly in size like the opening of the date window, and they are color matched, which is wonderful. Now this watch comes supplied with an excellent leather strap that really goes well with the watch because it's black with a red detail or red stitching, and it's blue underneath. But if you follow my channel, you know I always find these straps a bit too long, so I put it on my own 2-piece nylon, which is again black with red details, and I do believe it looks pretty much perfect on this strap. The bezel is cool because the inner silver part has the minute hashes, while the outer part has an additional 24-hour scale, just like the one on the inside. And when you turn the bezel, you actually you can move it bidirectionally. It has, I believe, 120 clicks, but you only move the outer part. So the inner silver part with the minute hashes always stays put. When it comes to the watch itself, it's incredibly legible. It has, like I said, oversized 369. The markers are also very large, and the hands are enormous. They really are, and they really make telling of the time easy even at a glance. Now usually I don't like the coarse finish that they do when it comes to finishing their hands. They always have this coarse brushing, which kind of looks weird, but on this watch it actually works because it catches the light differently and it makes the hands stand out. So overall, incredible watch, incredibly legible, just like the way I like it when it comes to the size, to everything. But like I said at the beginning, it is not perfect. AVI-8 wouldn't be AVI-8 if they didn't tweak some details that are not to my taste. First, the lume. You would expect this to be a blast in the dark, and yes, the hour and minute hands are. They're incredibly well lumed. But the 369 and the main hour markers are simply weaker in lume and do not follow the same intensity as the hands. That's not so much of a problem as it is when it comes to the 24-hour ring, which comes with the same lume as the one found on the hands. So you actually have the hands and the 24-hour ring on the inner part of the dial lumed really well, and then the main markers are not following the same intensity as those two. And to make matters worse, even though they lumed the 24-hour scale, they forgot to lume the GMT hand. So in the dark, you're reading the time using big hands, you see the 24-hour scale, and you're squinting your eyes to read the main markers, while the GMT hand is completely invisible. I don't know why they did that, and I hope that in some future iterations, they're going to change that by applying lume to the GMT hand as well, or drop the lume from the 24-hour ring so it becomes invisible in the dark and just the main time is readable. Also, the watch does come with 50 meters of water resistance, and then the crown is not a screw-in type. I wish they included a screw-in one, raised the water resistance to 100 meters or even more, but even at 50, I believe it's going to be okay, and it's okay for a pilot watch. I just wish it had a screw-in crown. It will give me a peace of mind, because this, judging by the strap that I put my own, is one of those watches that ever since it came, I put it on my wrist and I haven't taken it off because of how much I love the looks. And the final thing is the crystal. Yes, they went with a sapphire, and yes, it's domed to give that cool look when you're looking on the side, but it does affect legibility. Now at this angle, the watch is perfectly readable, but most of the times you're gonna have at least some kind of reflection like this, as you can see. And even though it's okay, because like I said, the hands, because of their brushing, are really easily readable, I wish they included a flat crystal with AR coating on the inside. I believe it would make the watch pop, and it would make it look like this all of the time. But even with those few details like the lume and the flat crystal, like I said, under $300 for a mechanical GMT that looks like this and wears the way this thing wears, it really is an awesome watch. So congratulations, AVI-8, you finally struck my nerve and my taste. Now just work out a couple of those details and you're gonna have a perfect example of a pilot watch. Anyways, that's it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. And until the next video, bye.